Hi, everyone. I think we are almost ready to start. Just waiting a few seconds. Yeah. All right. Welcome, everyone. We are really happy to host this webinar. It's the first one which will speak about the collaboration, the official collaboration between RiseUp and Domoscio. We will talk about adaptive learning today. For those who don't know the two companies, that we tried a few years ago to work together, but it was difficult. And right now we are really happy because we finally succeeded to merge the best technological platform with the best adaptive learning solution. So really happy to be there and speak more about it. And to do so, let me introduce to you speakers of the day first. So the first one is Frédéric Hébert, the new Chief Product Officer at RiseUp, a really experience on how to build digital academy in an enterprise world. He did that the past 15 years in Renault, Alstom, and Danone. And he will be joined by François, Managing Director at Domoscio, which is an engineer expert in the adaptive learning world. And before we start in the demonstration, I think it's important to remind you why we believe it's important to speak about adaptive learning today. As you are L&D professionals, I think the first two numbers you are really aware about, because everyone now knows that in the last studies, 44% of workers' current skills expected to be disrupted in the next 5 years. We are now all used to this. And the majority of employees are disengaged. The one which is less famous and which is really interesting for us today is we all agree that training is key and will be the cornerstone to solve those challenges. But on average, a learner spends less than 25 minutes a week for training. And at RiseUp, we decided to focus on those 25 minutes. We don't want people to spend more time on training. We want each minute to make count. So we really invest in what we call reducing the time to skill, and Domoscio's adaptive learning technology will really help us to get through that. And I will now let François explain how it works.
Thank you, Arnaud. Hello, everyone. Before diving into Domoscio technology, let's start with an adaptive learning definition. So adaptive learning is an educational approach that uses technology to personalize learning experiences and meet the individual needs of each learner. Paired with a skill-based approach, it will allow for targeting the strengths and weaknesses of each learner on a skill map in order to provide the appropriate response. In the hands of a trainer or a learner, this technology enables accelerated skill development. It's a natural evolution of online learning, taking advantage of the technologies available for us today. So at Domoscio, we've used research findings in cognitive science to develop impactful adaptive learning solutions. We created two products to enable large-scale application of the adaptive learning principles. These tools enhance the existing training system by integrating natively and by addressing two key training issues. First, before the training, by creating individualized learning paths adapted to the needs of each learner to achieve your business goals. Then, after the training, with learning reinforcement and spaced repetition to increase the long-term retention of key information that has been covered during the training. These two tools allow educational teams to accurately measure the impact of their training systems at a large scale. Domoscio's solution today are adding value to very different projects ranging from education to major groups in banking, insurance, and energy. So now let's have a look at our first product, Domoscio Hub. So Domoscio Hub is our adaptive learning tool, whose aim is the individualization of training path to achieve a business objective. In order to do this, Domoscio relies on an initial positioning test, a precise evaluation of the employee's initial level of mastery over a targeted skill map. We use an adaptive positioning test which adjusts the difficulty of the test to the actual level of the learner, making each test as short as possible and within the learner's reach. Based on this test, Domoscio will automatically select the best available resources to create an individualized learning path that will guide the learner in developing skills necessary to achieve his business objective. So Domoscio will identify the current level of the learner so that they can focus on the right skills to improve. Once the training resources have been taken, through a second positioning test, Domoscio measures the actual impact of training and can quantify the upskilling. So now we'll have a short demo on the Domoscio Hub product, and we'll start with the student view. So here, what you're going to see is a student connecting into the RiseUp LMS. And this student will access Domoscio adaptive learning experience within RiseUp. So this uses the native integration we have today working with Domoscio with a Scrum integration. So the learner will start an adaptive learning experience on self-communication. Yeah, let's wait for the demo to arrive there. So the learner will start an adaptive learning experience on self-development and team communication that will focus on 8 skills divided into 2 thematics. During the whole process, the student will be guided through a next action item that will guide him during the experience. Here, you can see that there's only one action, a positioning assessment, so the initial assessment we talked about. And here is going to target 4 skills. For each of these skills, the learner will have an expected level of proficiency to reach. This is the business objective that we're going to help the learner obtain. So this is an adaptive learning test. So with each of the students' answer, the Domoscio system will be able to select the next best question in order to evaluate the learner on the targeted skill map. So here you can see that we have different types of questions. We have single answer, multiple answer. We have matching question, fill the gap, open text. And all of this will help assess the current level of the learner. We can also use self-evaluation and propose that to the learner. It's very useful for certain use case where a traditional test won't apply. The idea there is going to try to find the most rapidly possible the current level of the learner. Here you can see that the correction is not shown. It's shown at the end of the test. You will also have parameters in order to train the test. So here it's taking a bit longer in terms of time because the answers are a bit random. So the system is having a hard time trying to find the actual level of the learner. So once the test is finished, you will get statistics about the test itself, how many questions have been answered, how many skills have been mastered. And what you will see, the interesting part, is that we will be able to identify what you see here, skill gaps between the current level, the initial level of proficiency that we measured through the test, and the expected level for the job. And this is this skill gap that you can see on the screen that we're going to address with a personalized learning path. So now, when the learner comes back to his thematic and to his actions, you can see that a learning path has been created for this specific learner, with all the actions and training material that has been selected for him in order to upskill. So the learner will be able now at his pace to follow the different training materials that has been selected. The training material can be hosted in Domoscio, or there can be a link in an LMS and redirecting to an LMS. Once the learner finishes his learning path, he will be able to take the second positioning test, and this will allow us to measure accurately the upskilling of the learner. So now we will have a look at the supervisor role within Domoscio. Yeah, I think we can continue with the video. Okay, never mind. So now I'm going to talk about our second product, Domoscio Lock. Domoscio Lock addresses a different problematic within learning. It's a spaced repetition tool that allows for the individualization of a revision plan. It's based on what is known as memory learning reinforcement that supports the employee with personalized reminders and challenges that are spaced out over time and that focus on the key skills they've seen in training. The challenges will allow students to use what they learn in training in the field. Domoscio acts after the training course, so after a face-to-face training or blended learning or e-learning, to enable the learner to build long-term memory on the key concepts seen during the training. There are currently two ways to access these reminders, either on our web application or via a mobile application. These two solutions will enable your learner to react efficiently and rapidly to personalized reminders. In order to have a long-time learning reinforcement that works, it must be spread out over several months after the training. And now, the benefits of these solutions. This approach will bring a direct added value for business and learners. An individualized learning plan allows learners to focus on key skills to develop, setting aside what is already mastered. This will help build engagement with the learner because everything they're going to see is going to be at their reach and useful. This will also increase time to skill. The learner will not anymore do a fixed training plan in order to upskill, but he will do only the parts that matter. Then, with adaptive learning applied to memorization, this will improve information retention and enhancing the impact of the training. So those are the two products of Domoscio. I will now let Frédéric speak about the future.
Thank you, François. So now we'll explain a bit what is not the current state, but what is most of it. What is adaptive learning and what is your end game, and what we'll implement with the acquisition of Domoscio and integrating Domoscio fully into RiseUp. So could you please move to the next slide? So most of the solutions on the market that claims to be adaptive, most of them rely on a recommendation engine. So basically, they try to recommend the best learning object or the best learning path based on the skills gap of the learners by doing some matching about my assessment versus the content. So most of the solution on the market is really only recommendation. So what we aim for, and it's on the next slide, it's pushing the boundaries of adaptive learning and moving that to another level. So not only doing nice recommendation, but doing recommendation and also tailor the learning based on the skill gap. So meaning I will soon be able in RiseUp to seek for content. I'm interested into, marketing fundamentals. And then the platform will be able to provide me some marketing content journey, and then later on adapt this journey to my own need. So that's what we want to explain in terms of adaptive. So we are not like the others claiming that we do adaptive and wants to only do recommendation and this is adaptive for them. It's really pushing the boundaries to be extremely granular at the path level and be able to build something which is specific and unique for each of the learners. So we will be able to do that. And thanks for being, I would say, a learning hub. So being on the middle of everything, so the learners, the experience, the content, and the adaptive engine, by being in the core of that, we'll be able to gather all the information to build this adaptive solution at scale. So that's what we aim for. And this will be released end of the year by the integration of Domoscio within RiseUp. So that's all for my part. I will be happy to take any question about what's come next and how it will be in place in the solution. Exactly, in detail.
Hi, everybody. So we're going through the questions now. We have a first question for Francois, which is, how does the skills assessment work? Are there options to create our own assessments and to use existing templates within Domoscio?
Thank you, Kemia. So the adaptive tests at Domoscio are entirely automatized. We're going to use a base of questions that can be created in Domoscio authoring tool, that can be created within the tool, imported in the tool. And we're going to use those questions. The engine will use those questions to create a personalized test. So everything is automatic, and you cannot create your own assessments. You can create and change the content pool, and Domoscio will then pick the right content for the learner and apply weight on each question.
Thank you, Francois. We've had another question come in for Frédéric, which is, how does the integration with RiseUp work? How quickly can we get it implemented?
Thanks, Camilla, for the question. I hope I will answer it properly for the person who asked. So we have already an integration in place. As you have seen in the demo, the system works already. So we rely on robust technologies based on SCORM. So we have already a full integration based on the SCORM module. So it's available tomorrow, even today. But the idea is later on this year, we will merge the two products. So use the Domoscio engine, but fully integrate the Domoscio experience within RiseUp to be able to have a better user experience for the learner, of course, to have something even more smooth and injected at several locations of the platform, but also for the L&D team that needs to create this adaptive solution. So the system will be integrated within RiseUp. The engine will still be the Domoscio engine. So what you've seen in terms of adaptive and using the algorithm and all the research that have been done for the last years will still remain on these core technologies, but it will be fully integrated within RiseUp. It will arrive by the end of the year for the full integration. And that's all. So available now with the current setup and even better integration later on this year.
Thank you very much, Frédéric. That was very clear. And we've had actually another question come in about Domoscio, which is, could we offer some more details on Domoscio lock specifically? How does this feature operate? And do users need to develop their own logic, or is it pre-built within the platform?
Okay, so let's give more detail about the Domoscio lock. So with Domoscio lock, the system will itself choose the pacing of the reminders that we're going to push to a student. So you will be able to create a set of questions within Domoscio that will be used by the engine to create a revision plan. The engine will, for each learner and each skill that is being studied, will start with an initial memorization strength and forgetting curve. And with each interaction that Domoscio will have with the learner, we will then pick and choose in time the best time to schedule the next reminder. And with each reminder, we're going to update the learner's memory strength and update his memory curve.
Thank you very much, Francois. We have a big question, which is around AI. So how is AI powered? Does it use external data, and is our content protected?
So what's important at Domoscio is that almost everything we use, we built it in-house and we host it ourselves within the EU. So your data is protected, and it's very important for us. Maybe Frédéric, you want to add a bit more about RiseUp?
Yeah, so by integrating fully Domoscio in RiseUp, as I said, the idea is to, us RiseUp being a hub of the training, meaning that we have the users' information, we have the content of our partners like, big names, LinkedIn, Open Sesame, other companies like that. We have this information about the skills and the skill levels or proficiency, let's say. You have the users, you have your own content. So we can digest all of this information into the Domoscio engine to be able to tailor the content to the users. So that's what will happen after when it comes to the pure AI engine that we have in RiseUp, to push even the boundaries to the level up. So we have also, an AI engine with powered by, same technology as ChatGPT. The only difference is we have several options. One is also to have the data and the engine store on local servers. So meaning something that are totally safe and we don't send information outside, I would say, of your boundaries. Meaning if you want to keep the data locally and safe, we can use engine. Sorry, I'm searching my words to not be too technical, but the engine will be only using your own data. And the end game, of course, is to be able to tailor this pathway for each learner based also on your content. So meaning I can scrap and I can adapt based on one specific learning asset that you have built internally and with other resources that come from your libraries. And in the future, so this is something that we will push later, but after the full integration, it's also moving to a next level that will be able to also create the content through AI. Of course, we put some boundaries around to make sure we are following compliance. We can also follow some of the, I would say, requests that you can have as corporations. Say, I want to make sure that my content is validated and approved. So we'll put all of that, but the ultimate goal is to be able to properly recommend content and ultimately adapt the content to a learning path, and then later on even build some materials based on your own knowledge and resources.
Thank you very much, Frédéric. Now we have a question that's specific to skills. So I think you mentioned that there are 7 or 8 skills across 2 themes, thematics. What are these? Are they always the same for every organization?
So that's a very interesting question. I'm going to start, Frédéric. At Domoscio today, we do not provide content. So our clients will create within the Domoscio authoring tool their skill map that is their own, and will import their content. So each company within Domoscio will have their own skill map. And this is something that we're going to work with RiseUp, and we will be able to expand on this as RiseUp as content. And this is not what Domoscio has today.
Thank you, François. We have a second question, which is around the integration. So you mentioned that the integration is extremely granular and can build something specific for each learner. How can L&D teams ensure that the quality of learning activities is consistent?
Yeah, so that's also a very good question. We didn't have time to go through this during the demo. But with Domoscio solution, we get a lot of data on the interaction between learners and training materials, whether there are questions or trainings. And this will give us a lot of data and analytics about the impact, the actual impact of the training materials and on the question. We have we are able to show statistics and metrics on all the training materials that are being used, to showcase the one that needs to be reviewed, for example, that are not performing as intended. And this will allow for continuous improvement of the training materials.
Very clear. Thank you, François. This leads us to a similar question, which is, we were of the understanding that we could use this tool to assess individual performance, skills levels, and gaps, inputting a personalized skills matrix for individual roles within the company. Is this not the case?
This is the case. For each role of the company, you can use a part of a skill map that is specific for this job and create an adaptive learning experience with specific business objectives on this part of the skill map. So for each job, you can pick and choose from your skill map of your entire company, just the part you need, set business objectives on it, and then deploy it to the population. And with Domoscio statistics and supervisor role, you will be able to follow the metrics and the skill, the upskilling of an entire population, as well as the upskilling of a single user. So you will have this granularity in the supervision of your training.
Thank you, Francois. So there was a similar question regarding the skill set. Is if you can please maybe re-explain a bit about the process works to set the skills. Is this something that our teams can support on? Sorry, the Rise Up and Domoscio teams can support on?
I don't know if you want to start, Frédéric.
Yeah, I mean, at Rise Up, we support the skill. I mean, we have the skills feature, we have a competency framework capabilities already, and we are implementing and adjusting, not implementing, but we are fine-tuning the integration with Domoscio to make it even better. So you will be able to have your own skills ontology behind that. And proficiency level. So we will have all the, I will say, not the regular features, but you will have everything that you need to have a platform that powers skills. So you will have your skills framework that is based on your needs. So if the question is, can we provide a skill set and something out of the box, the answer is yes. If the question is, can I have my own skill framework, the answer is yes. So we support these capabilities, and we are making the necessary integration with Domoscio to talk the same language when it comes to skills. So that's why I say later this year, it will be fully transparent.
Thank you very much, François and Frédéric. And so what extra work do we, as Rise Up users and admins, so as people who are currently using Rise Up, need to do to prepare for Domoscio? For example, do we tag courses with the skills that they developed? How does the Domoscio know which skill is developed via our course library content?
You want to take, I'm taking it, Francois, maybe?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So, I mean, as Francois have shown right now, you can integrate Domoscio in Rise Up as a score module, and everything is already working smoothly, and you have the data consolidated and everything. What we are doing right now, it's, as I said again, not reshuffling, it's realigning the skills capabilities. So making sure that we talk the same language all across the platform. For those who have seen the roadmap, there is an initiative that we will launch. It's part of the features. It's for those who have content, tagging the content and also re-tagging the content that could have been in the platform. So one of the big things that is for this year to have this successful integration and move to the next level of adaptive, it's making sure that the content will be tagged. So for that, normally if you have third-party, I would say third-party catalog coming from big off-the-shelf companies, we have this information already. But for what you have built internally, we want to provide capabilities to auto-tag this content and just review them. And thanks for, technologies and AI that can digest everything and summarize that. We want to make sure that we can help you to re-tag that has been tagged in the past, to smoothly after that connect the dot between what is inside and the adaptive engine. So normally for you, when the full integration will be done, you will not have much to do when it comes to relook at your content. And the second thing, as we still, and again, I'm putting that emphasis this, as being a hub, we'll have all the information to do this job. And we also have an AI agent that will be able to support you when it comes to create all the necessary information to rebuild the adaptive experience. So really, the full idea here as a hub, we will be able to have Domoscio and scaling up and making adaptive to the next level. So I don't know if it's has been clearer, but endgame, we are doing our best for you on the other side to have a limited impact and limited actions to be done on your content and on the run phase.
Thank you very much, Frédéric. And so you did mention integrations. So the following question would be, is the integration live? Meaning, is the interface between RiseUp and Domoscio Hub and Lock updated daily, hourly, per minute?
For now, the two systems are linked together. So it means when I'm connecting to RiseUp and doing my experience, I'm having all the information in the database for Domoscio. So we have all the information. The only thing is we need to have some new dashboard in RiseUp to making sure that you can compare apple with apples. So we want to reinject some of the, I will say, data that is consolidated and rework within the engine into the main RiseUp system to provide new dashboard. But as for now, we have everything that works to consolidate and the data are flowing properly. It's a question more of building dashboard on one single location.
Thank you. If I can add something to the response, to the integration you've seen is live, and Domoscio integrated through SCORM into an LMS is something that Domoscio does for a long time. So it is working live right now, and it is updated in real time through the SCORM API. Right now, as Frédéric said, a lot of statistics are on the Domoscio side and will be later this year integrated within RiseUp. So you can only have one platform to follow everything.
And so that, I think, supports the next question, which was regarding the integration. So it allows us to upload a RiseUp course as a SCORM module into Domoscio and provide adaptive learning from there. Is this correct?
Right now, the way it works, I don't know if Arnaud or Frédéric wants to.
Yeah, I can. I can say it. I mean, right now you can really use already Domoscio and RiseUp. So basically, I mean, you can build your own experience, your adaptive experience within Domoscio, and it's already available in RiseUp. So that's why you have seen in the demo, for those who are really used to use RiseUp, it's RiseUp interface with the full product of Domoscio built in and the data flowing everywhere. So the integration is live. Now for us to make a better integration.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And I have two questions that came up that are for Arnaud. And this one would be, hello, is it possible to receive an individual demo? And can you please show us an example of the live skills integration?
Yes, so of course the whole RiseUp/Domoscio team is ready for it. You can starting now try the Domoscio tool connected to your RiseUp application thanks to the SCORM integration. So feel free to reach out your day-to-day point of contact, either the CS team or the sales team, and we can definitely set this up for you.
Perfect. So to answer those two questions, we would, of course, be happy to organize a dedicated demonstration to showcase these tools. I'm wondering if we have any last questions before we close the webinar. Okay, it seems like one last question just came up, and it's regarding how would this integration work with another HRIS system?
So if you already deploy a skill repository inside your HRIS system, of course, we have the capacity to synchronize it. And the RiseUp perimeter is really only the learning playground, which means that we synchronize skills and we will do the assessment and the full learning part inside RiseUp. And then we can send back results and statistics to your HR system.
And it seems we have time for one last question, which is, can you please give us an example of a client maybe using RiseUp or Domoscio that has been successful with this tool?
François, can you please?
Yeah, can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was to understand how an example of Domoscio, one of Domoscio's clients' examples. What was the specific use case for this client, and why was it successful?
Okay, I can start with Engie, which is a big client of Domoscio in the energy sector in France. We are using Domoscio Hub to help train the new commercials there. And so they're using Domoscio Hub to personalize their learning path. And so we're working with them closely to showcase statistics, but we have very good results on a higher time to skill with the solution, Domoscio Hub, than without. And we have a very good learner engagement with them. I think we're over 80 or 90%. So we'll be able to showcase those numbers very shortly.
Great, thank you. And so it seems that we are now done with the webinar. Thank you very much for all of your questions, and thank you to the panelists. Maybe they have a last word.
Well, thank you all. Really excited about it and to set up a demonstration for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.